Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bardic Inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Dungeons & Dragons in Shakespearean Style. My name is Adam Himbry, and I'll be your Dungeon Master this evening. Bardic Inspiration is brought to you by Soothplayers, a Melbourne-based theater company that usually produces full-length improvised comedy shows, including Completely Improvised Shakespeare, Completely Improvised Potter, and Improvised Jane Austen. But last year, unfortunately, the plague struck and the theater shut, and we turned to Dungeons & Dragons for a chance to keep improvising together, but mostly just to see all of our friends. So, to that end, we've been streaming D&D together for about a year, and it's now time for us to return to our adventure with the Magical Cane Band. I hope some of you got to tune in 2 weeks ago when last we left off with them. If not, you have the chance to catch up on our YouTube channel. Just give us a like and a follow on Bardic Inspiration, and you can both meet the Cane Band and also see what they've been up to. But now I would like to set the scene for you here in the shadow of the Gamolan Ranges in the fantasy world of Eorn that we have built together. Where there are huge mountains blocking the western sky. Nestled amongst them, between those mountains and Lake Lewin, a vast lake, is a tiny town called Gadmouth, where the Magical Cane Band have been laying their scene for the last handful of sessions. Last session, the Magical Cane Band had a bit of interpersonal drama.
Just a bit. Which
I could describe, but I would be very interested to hear our group's description of it. It began with a very fraught escape from the town of Gadmouth, which was swarming with soldiers. And there had been a bit of a lesson in love between Budge, our bugbear rogue, and Rain, our halfling blood hunter. And Rain wanted to apply that lesson, believing, as she did, that the love of her life, our warlock tiefling Glee, was ready to kiss her. And then some events transpired, and I think maybe it would be a good time for me to turn it over to our cast to explain what a few of those events were. Take it away.
So, on learning that Glee did actually want to kiss Rain, and after careful practice from Budge, Rain proceeded
Not that
to
careful
find
at all.
Glee. And Glee pretty much just exploded, did a lot of damage to Rain, disappeared. Rain couldn't find them. Glee, you can take it away from
Glee
there.
fled with a clap of thunder, teleported into a tree, so upset that their trust had been broken in that way.
Hidden from a bush, Budge expecting the fallout, tried to apologize to Glee, at first with a note on an arrow, and then realizing the mixed message that sent just in person. But it seemed that he did not quite understand that the strictly celibate nature of Glee and Rain's relationship. And he was corrected as such. And I believe the sound of the thunderstep drew the ire or attention of guards nearby.
Yep, I believe that was definitely the case.
But luckily, Allura had some way to help us with that.
Yeah. So she got us out of here by casting a rope trick, which opens a portal at the top so that everybody could climb up and hide in a hole, pulling the rope in after us, and watched as they tried to find us but could not. And so they ended up leaving without a trace of us, so we snuck back out. And Allura was also helping Glee write notes to Rain by sending calligraphy supplies via Glee's mage hand to the tree.
And those letters ended the relationship between Rain and Glee, leaving Rain heartbroken and consuming all the alcohol.
That prompted a positively intense binging session from a little cask of port wine that Glee had given to Rain as a gift just before the ill-fated attempt at a kiss. So that was a bit tough. You also, in getting noticed by those guards, you had a bit of an event after escaping those guards. When you descended back down the rope, you noticed that you had a very familiar observer, a number of pythons hanging in the trees nearby, one of whom was watching you closely. And using Glee's ability to speak with animals, you had a bit of a chat with the python.
Also, Glee got the python to bite Budge.
Well, I thought the python just did it on its own.
Budge doesn't know this.
Budge does know this, but
Budge
he
knows.
doesn't want Glee to know that he knows it.
Yeah, that
He
happened.
just let it bite him, and he was like, "Ow, bad python."
Yeah, and unfortunately, Donna, our lovely, who plays our lovely half-elf bard Finn, is unable to join us this eve. She usually pipes in all the way from London and has been doing so for over a year. And this is one of the first ones she's had to miss in a long time, so she sends her regards and regrets. But Finn was involved partially in all of this, attempting to soothe poor Rain's broken heart, advising her to be steadfast and try her best to understand where Glee was coming from. And as in many cases, when Finn or Allura are attempting to take mom and mum role, Glee and Rain figure their own way through things. And we left with the two of them having exchanged some letters, some of which we put in the chat here on the stream, I think, for you to enjoy. I hope you enjoyed them. But yes, as was said, that relationship, such as it was, seems to be no more. Brockley finished off the episode with a rather eventful time, however.
Yeah, I had a chat to Glee about all things love. I was just hoping to impart some wisdom. I promised her a book of wisdom, all the wisdom that I've accrued on love, just to help in any small way. And as a reward, Glee gave me the power of flight for 10 minutes.
This is true. We left off with Brockley soaring over the treetops, feeling a sense of wonder and inner peace. Something a little bit like that. And Allura had shouted to him briefly as he was ascending that he had but 10 minutes. It's unclear as to how clear Brockley was on that restriction. We heard from Brockley a moving speech about how life needed to be put into a different perspective. And the flight gave him that perspective, it seems, in his way. We are picking up in a nebulous time, nearing the end of that 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Brockley has not taken precautions to know precisely when that comes, only that it will come. So tell us, Rick, what is Brockley getting up to as he drifts above the treetops regarding the Dawn Guard, where he gets his name?
I do wonder now if there is time to bring someone with me. Am I able to carry someone in my flight? Could I pick someone up and therein give them a taste of the stars? Perhaps I should not squander this gift upon myself. Oh, I have been selfish. I must herein swoop and try to scoop those who would fly with me. The swoop and scoop must herein befall those who would fly with me.
Tell me what Brockley's doing. Is he aiming to swoop and scoop a particular member of the band?
I think I'll do a flyby and just be like, hey, does anyone want to come fly with me? I'm coming. It's really good. Everyone come in. Put your hand up. Just come out and I'll pick you up.
Brockley is coming ever closer to the ground, arms outstretched. What are the rest of the Cane Man members doing? Does anyone take his outstretched hand?
Rain is still comatose.
That's right. Rain is passed out after vomiting profusely a bunch of port wine that she sculled as quickly as she could. No one seems to be taking your offer, Brockley.
I think.
Oh, sorry. I think Matt, your sound appears to be off. Did Budge say something?
Quite hearing, or just hearing that what Brockley said, and not realizing that he's flying, he's going to sort of emerge out of the dome and be like, Brockley, is that you? And wave at him.
All right, Brockley.
Brockley flying.
I grabbed that hand.
Okay, Budge A, do you permit this or are you resisting it?
Given that Brockley is my friend and I trust him, I will grab as he grabs.
Okay,
thinking maybe
Brockley,
I can save him.
make an athletics check, Brockley.
I will say I do the classic bro grab, like that, you know.
Oh,
that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was
sure.
aiming
Like
for
the-
the elbow. Yeah.
The Roman handshake. Yeah.
Sorry, you wanted me to do an athletics check.
Yes.
Now I've got to wait for my web page, which I had preloaded to reload because my laptop really likes to take its time, build attention.
Sure. Yeah. Get you a laptop that can read the room.
Yeah. Why do things quickly when you can really just pace things
Indeed.
out and
Yeah.
This is
allow
how it feels
implied
for Bud
suspense?
slowly watching Brockley flying in full plate armor towards him, eyes grow wide.
Alora, Finn, and Glee, I presume, are all in the dome. Finn, regarding all of this with a kind of wry smile, typical of her, and plucking out on Alora's lute, which Alora lended her after the breaking of her own. A familiar tune. There we are. 19 on your athletics. Okay, Brockley, you successfully, using the power of flight that remains to you, start to slowly lift Budge off the ground. Budge, you feel your arm pulled up, and if you don't resist, your toes begin to leave the ground slowly. It's slower going because you're holding the weight of this bugbear. We lost to Brockley. And he's gone. Budge, you're drifting upward, foot by foot, slowly rising up the branches, the dome getting further and further below you.
Brockley,
Where indeed is Brockley? What is Glee doing in the dome at this point, having given Brockley this power of flight? There's Brockley.
Glee is sitting cross-legged on the ground, smiling up at the sky, watching this all occur.
Mm-hmm. Brockley, you have taken Budge 2 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet off the ground. You're slowly rising at a slower speed because of the new weight. The warmth still suffuses you. This excitement, this glow.
you're doing it. You're doing it, Brockley. You're actually flying. How'd you do this?
We're doing it, Budge. Look up at the stars. We're getting closer.
Oh, I've only ever done this in my dreams. Well, in many people's dreams, I suppose. Oh my goodness, Brockley. This is amazing.
Brockley and Budge,
We're quite high up.
you've gotten a bit higher up now. Brockley, there has been a change. A sudden change of the warmth that you are experiencing. It begins to fade. Budge, the force picking you up
What a
ever
blessing.
upward. It seems to be stalling. Brockley and Budge,
What are you doing, Brockley?
as you near the tops of the nearest trees, you begin to drop.
Brockley, don't. Brockley, keep flying.
Brockley and Budge, I'm going to need you both
Brockley!
to make dexterity saving throws.
That almost flat.
Or acrobatics checks. One of those two. We'll sort you.
What did you want me to do? Dexterity saving
A
throw?
dexterity save or an acrobatics check if you're proficient, which I suspected Budge was.
I'll do a dexterity save as my better roll.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. What the hey? I think this is still wonderful.
Oh, do we both get? We both get aura of protection. Do we?
You do, because Brockley has that feature which allows you to add his charisma modifier to your saving throws.
You're welcome.
That'll be.
Is that a +2, Brockley?
Hey.
So
We're Bastion.
21 for
In that
me.
web. We're Bastion.
Yeah.
We're Bastion.
Where's
Stop
Bastion? You giant spider, nowhere in your moment of need. Brockley and Budge, you begin to plummet. Budge, with your quick reflexes and your long bugbear arms, as you begin to fall, before your momentum rapidly increases, you actually are able to grab out to a passing branch and latch on to it. And then what transpires after this is nothing short of a full pendulum swing. As Brockley is now higher than you and then swinging lower, and then you're grabbing on. Yeah, precisely. This is real Newton's first law situation. you're gonna start to swing. Budge, you are holding on to Brockley, and then your whole weight is crashing down. You have a choice. This is all happening really quickly. You can let Brockley go and keep the branch, or hold Brockley, and this branch, who knows? Who knows if it's gonna hold?
I can't drop him.
Okay.
I've betrayed too many friends too recently.
Okay. Oh goodness. Okay. In that case, it's my turn. Who's rolling the dice? Oh, is that much? I'm going to roll a d20. If it is above a 10, the branch will hold. If it is a 10 or below, the branch will crack. Ready?
Steady branch.
Okay. Dawn, luck is on your side. The branch holds. Now's a good time to thank Matt Day, designer of Rollcast, which allows us to do these super sweet dice rolls for you to see publicly on stream. Very fun. Budge, you hold onto that branch. The branch does not break. Brockley's full weight gets you, and it is like getting pulled on the rack. But because you hold, the two of you swing. And Budge, you hold on to the branch, but Brockley, you are going to go smack full George of the Jungle into a tree trunk. I'm going to need you to take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
It seems fair.
And then Budge is able to hold on, but at this point, Brockley, you've hit the tree. You can grab onto the tree and basically be stuck there. What does Brockley do in this stage? You're going to try to grab on and climb down?
Yeah, I'll definitely go the grab.
Okay, make me an athletics check, and then we'll see how you go.
Athletics. I can remember that. I've got good athletics. I like my.
It is.
Nothing can go wrong here.
Oh,
why are you letting go, Brockley? Why are you letting
those
go?
Words.
What are you doing?
Brockley, perhaps utterly, for a moment, confounded by the face-smacking damage you just took into the tree, you begin to scrabble your arms to get a purchase, and you just can't quite get a grip. Your chain mail is slippery against the bark, and there is no immediate branch to hold on to. You begin to fall. You are going to take only another 5 points of falling damage. These fortunate rolls on that next one. As you land in it.
Landing damage as opposed to falling damage. I feel like it was the landing that really did the damage.
It was the slamming damage into the tree that really got you, and then after that, it's more of a like ow, ow, like you hitting smaller branches that are breaking underneath you, and you only had like 10 to 15 feet to fall at that point, so it wasn't that far, but it definitely hurt when you landed. Like you're not. No one's built to fall from that high easily. And you had the momentum from getting swung by Budge as well. So you were moving. but you are now at the bottom of the tree. Budge, you are hanging by an arm from that branch. I'll say, given that you are stable, you can make your way down without needing to roll for it or anything like that.
When I hit the ground,
Righto.
I say, "Ta-da!"
Classic.
Brockley, what was that? You were flying, and then you weren't.
Well, it's you can only get so close to the stars, Budge, before you pay the price. And honestly, 'tis a price I'm willing to pay. A little bit of slamming damage, a little bit of falling damage, but none of this damage can undo the wonder that we have tasted here this night.
Boy, and Brockley, thou art full of wonder. Every day, every night, every minute.
We were as birds, Budge. We were as birds.
For a brief moment, we were like an eagle.
And no tree damage can take that away from you and I. I think perhaps that you and I could play birds on stage now with an authenticity that would shock the audience.
I suppose we would be acting from experience.
Oh, this is the most powerful place to draw thy acting from. A place of truth, good Budge.
Aye, but the truth this evening is killing me from both my snake bite and my shoulders, for they are near dislocated. And I think I am well ready for bed soon.
Aye. Thou seems adversely troubled by what has befallen. Thou hast done naught wrong this evening, Budge, as far as I can see. Why does guilt weigh upon thy brow?
Well, see, I did not quite understand, and I made an error. For when I was perched atop the roof of the inn with Rain, with guards all surrounding us, I thought there was nary a thing I could do to keep that halfling still. So I promised her something that I should not have promised, which was
A cushion.
Well, I've already promised that.
Another cushion. How many cushions can you promise, Budge?
Till the first one, none, I imagine.
Yeah.
It's done. But I promised her that Glee was to give her a kiss, and I thought, well, I suppose it don't matter what I thought, but I was wrong. And when she got back, that whole mess of hell that broke loose, that were...
Oh, Budge.
that were my beast of skin.
Knows thou now that there be a fine line between Cupid and stupid, good Budge? Thou didst
and I
seek
was
to
stupid.
send an arrow into love's true heart, and yet that arrow has caused much pain, Budge.
My words are so true. So true.
And yet, I do sympathize with thee, the need to keep Rain still from time to time. Thou hast not a pouch with a cushion that thou can let her rest in to stay still. And I am blessed in this advantage. Well, Budge, I'm almost cross with thee, but I feel like thou hast saved my life upon the tree, and so we are even hence.
Well, that serves me well to be in your good books, Brockley. Thank you for the advice. I appreciate it.
I shall not ask thee for love's quips from here on in, let me tell you that.
Nay, do not. Leave me out of that book, the writing for Glee.
Oh, although maybe cautionary tales should be part of the book.
Perhaps an afterword.
Chapter 7,
Now.
Do not budge.
So Budge and Brockley are just outside of the dome now. Are the two of you going into the dome to take your rest? What's your plan for this evening?
Sleepy times. I
Time
shall
to
dream of the
sleep.
stars.
As they get into the dome, Alora just hands them both a mug of hot broth, shakes her head, and goes back to fixing Finn's loop.
Now, Budge has re-entered the dome. what's Glee's general attitude right now towards the rest of the caravan? How's she going over there, Ella?
Glee is sitting apart, surveying everybody, holding her bag, looking sullen.
Well, then in just such a position, we find you beginning to take your rest. Rain, having gotten a head start, definitely asleep.
I do need to thank Glee, though, as I get in. Glee! Oh, Glee! Glee! G to the L-E-E! The things that we have seen this night, and all because of thee, Glee. Oh, I can thank thee no more than is in my heart pours out to thee now. The warmth I have felt this night as flight was mine. Oh, Glee, thank thee.
I thank thee, Brockley. 'Twas a beautiful sight to see.
Glee lifts me up where I belong. I touched the stars. I flew so far. Yeah! Glee lifts me up where we belong. Everybody! Woo! Oh no, it's sleep time. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. Oh, sorry. I should have picked a lullaby. Shh, Rain. Shh. It's okay. Hey, shh. Shh. Sleepy times.
Well then, you have Finn's tiny hut, the dome that is cast over you. You have ventured away from Gadmouth into the woods, into what seems like an advantageous and safe spot. Are you all going to sleep, or will you have someone set a watch?
I can watch.
All right. Finn likewise lets you know that she can either take the first 4 hours or the final 4 hours, whatever
I
suits.
think spotting that Allura is taking a watch, Budge will quietly just let her know that he can also take a watch after she's done.
Okay.
Sure.
So then the two of you can take 2 hours each, and then Finn will round out the evening.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In that case, those of you who are going to bed, off to bed you go. And then who was the first watch? Allura?
Yeah.
Okay. Brockley, Glee, and Budge, you all going to sleep, take your rest? All right. In that case, I need my watcher to make a perception check. That is Allura.
Sure.
Okay. And even with your keen senses, it is a quiet night. Especially when, now that all of you have actually bedded down, stopped your singing and flying. It is very still. There's not much wind. You've had some rain recently, but it's been a dry day, and that has continued into the night. The stars are gradually becoming visible overhead as the cloud cover that Brockley saw earlier. The southern line of it crosses slowly over you during the watch, apparently moving north. You can see the stars, and your 2 hours pass uneventfully, Allura. You can wake Budge.
Just look at the group and see if everyone's sleeping okay. Is Rain's not going to choke or anything?
Okay.
It's fine.
Sure. Make a general insight check.
Is Glee clutching her bag like she's going to try and wake up and leave us, or
I will let you know what you get based on that roll.
Well, I know that.
Good. Pretty insightful, that, Allura. Give me just a sec. As you sort of make your ministrations, just as Bud just sort of right before you wake Budge for this. You can see Brockley sleeping soundly, I presume, as Brockley must often do. Rain is... Well, Catherine, why don't you tell us how you imagine Rain looks right now in this drunken slumber?
Like curled up almost like a cat, but with Rain's face pushed against the dirt, just drooling into the dirt, with like dirt caked on the side of the face.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
I would imagine she has not made much effort to clean herself as well since various events. So there's all of that.
Yeah, still blood like dripping from my ears and all matted and stuff from the 14 points of damage.
Yeah. So that's Rain. Glee is asleep, I presume. I would say with an 18, if you look at Glee for a little bit, Glee has the attitude of someone who's dreaming. Eyes slightly ajar, rapid eye movement, apparently deeply asleep, not moving. And then there is Budge, whom you're about to wake for your watch.
Budge, 'tis thy watch, friend.
My watch. Right.
It is quiet. All is still.
Oh, perfect. Perfect for taking a watch. Okay. Get some rest then, Allura.
Budge, you make a perception check.
Peeves.
You call him Peeves to help you out. He sort of with a snuffle, like, gets up and is like looking around like there must be trouble, and then sort of comes.
No, I know, Peeves. It's all right. I know it's very early / late. Just go have a look.
Okay.
See if there's
Peeves
anything about
puts his game face on, his big wolfhound game face, and sort of gingerly trots through the magical dome wall. And you can hear the light sounds of his snuffling to the ground as he moves around. So you can make your perception check with advantage. Ah, so close. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
And there it is. Okay. It is, as I said, a clear night and very still, very silent. Occasional noises of ruffling feathers, just the faintest hint of the passage of some night birds and predators. But even the bugs seem quiet. Peeves, after a moment, goes very still and adopts a sort of attitude that you've seen many times on your hunts, in a way kind of pointing, rigid, not growling, but you've heard his footfalls stop, and then you can sort of clock where he was. He's 15, 20 feet away from the dome and is just staring into the tree line.
Can I see what he's looking
I
at? Or do
would
need to
say
get a little closer.
You can tell precisely the direction that Peeves is looking. If you get a bit closer, I will say you will see, you will take in what Peeves is looking at from where you're lying down.
I will draw an arrow. Just out of a hunch, Budge will draw the Dragon Slayer's arrow, the long black arrow that was given to him a while ago, and place it in the bow, just out of a horrible feeling at the bottom of his stomach, and he will creep as quietly as he can up to his wolfhound Peeves.
Make a stealth
Crouch
check
in
then,
the vine.
if you're purposefully sneaking.
I am still
The
wearing
cloak. Yeah,
the
you
cloak
can
of
do so
elven
with
kind.
advantage then. An already sneaky Budge.
Happy for that cloak.
Yep. Oh, look at that teeter. We were just talking about it. It's such an epic ride.
It teeters.
22. Okay. Very, very silently. You're very confident that none of your sleeping comrades would have known you left. You pad your way across the forest floor and manage to angle yourself bush to bush, tree to tree, so that you approach from behind Peeves, and you're not entirely certain that Peeves even knows you're there. There is a humanoid figure not far away, sitting very still, with their back leaning up against a tree trunk.
Can I discern anything about them in terms of clothing,
With
height?
Yeah, for sure. So they are between 5 and 6 feet tall, wearing what appear to be like dark, like a dark kind of traveler's cape over some quite mundane clothes. With your dark vision, you can make out that they seem to be mostly kind of canvas and shades of gray, and in the dark, you'd say the cape might be a dark gray or brown. The hood of the cape is kind of drawn up, not fully obscuring the face. It is a person who, in the dim light, it's hard to get a lot of details because it's mostly mottled shades of gray. But you can tell that there is tight curls of white hair, short, close cropped, coming from just around the sides of the hood. And you can also see, thanks to a sort of a cue from Peeves, that up in the branch closest to where this person sits, there is an owl.
Is the owl aware of my presence?
The owl is looking straight at Peeves.
Fuck you, Adam. Oh, okay. And I don't. That's so. This white cult hair, and Budge would be sort of searching his mind. He doesn't recognize that. That doesn't strike him as a key feature of someone we've met.
That is, I would say, from even with your incredible check, like I should say, because of your incredible check, you are sure you have never seen this creature before.
All right.
The owl, however,
I just come up behind Budge. I come up behind Budge. I'm like, "Hey, Budge, what you doing out here?" I'm joking. I'm still asleep.
Yeah, you're very much asleep. But if only, right?
That was
If
my
only.
dream. I'm dreaming it.
Okay. Budge will carefully lower this Dragon Slayer arrow and sink his breathing into that of when he's hunting with Peeves.
Mm-hmm.
He will draw an arrow. He will. Fuck! Is there. Okay, mechanical question. Is there a way for Budge to deal non-lethal damage with an arrow? Like a shot to the shoulder or something that will still do the amount of damage that he would normally do, but like leave them at like 1 hit point or something, or is that not?
So, Budge is an excellent shot and a hunter. You definitely understand that there are target areas when you shoot to kill, and there are target areas when you shoot to maim. So if you want to call your shot like that, it will increase, I suppose, the degree of difficulty because you're not just aiming for the core, which is where you would normally be doing for a hunting shot. So yeah, you can do that, and at least be relatively confident that it will not be a killing shot.
I can't do it. It's just I can't. Okay, I will cast Hunter's Mark. I will sort of muttering that under Budge's breath, that rhyme to Hern the Hunters.
Okay.
He will then, as I said, steady his breathing and treat this cloaked figure as his slayer's prey, reading its subtle movements, carefully syncing its breathing with his. He will put away his dagger. No, he will put away his arrow. His
The
bow.
arrow of dragon slaying. Yeah.
And he will draw his long knife. And he will steadily, slowly try to approach the figure.
Okay.
So that he can get his blade underneath his neck.
Okay. So you're to be clear, you're trying to work your way around the trees.
I want to get to him. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think we'll let you roll new stealth checks for that because it's a very different set of
That
actions.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, just like I can't. I'm like, there's so many questions. I
Aren't
can't
there?
just like I could kill this dude so fast. I could. I know I could. It's why I built this character. It's how I built this character. Oh my god. Okay. That's good.
That's pretty good. That's almost as good as it gets. Yeah. Just in case, right? Look at that teeter. It's a thing of beauty. Okay. 28. 28. Thank you again to Matt Day. Budge, you drop into your zone. This is your element. You feel that you have shaken off the fog of sleep, and that tense moment where you could have taken the shot has got you adrenaline pumping. You are wide awake. Peeves, you are now certain, does not know where you are. He could perhaps smell you, but he is again still stock still. Having made no move to go back to the dome or closer to this figure. You strafe your way side to side, making no sound. With the cloak on, it's like even the moonlight itself isn't touching you. There is no sound through the night. It seems totally silent, and you don't break that silence. You can creep closer from behind so that the tree trunk is between you and this figure. And you are directly on the other side so that you can reach out and touch the tree easily and press yourself against it. There has been no reaction from the figure sitting next to the tree. What do you do?
I will, with the pommel of the dagger, Budge will whack it. Smack the side of his head in an attempt to sort of to rattle him. It wasn't like a stab to it, but to get the drop on him.
Okay. You can make an attack roll with advantage. This is like so. Yeah. To be clear, you are doing this not hoping to kill.
Hoping to do non-lethal damage. Yes.
Okay. So you're not angling to sneak attack, for example, because you're just like whacking with the end, or is that something you're hoping is happening?
I was hoping to sneak attack as well.
Okay.
But
I'm gauging how much hurt Budge wants to inflict. That's
maximum amount of hurt, but not kill this person.
Okay. Make your attack roll. Make your attack roll.
Okay. Is this with advantage because it's with surprise, or because they don't know, or because I'm hidden?
It is with advantage.
Oh god. It's okay.
That's one.
It's okay. It's okay.
Roll again.
Come on.
Okay.
Don't do me like this, Adam.
Budge.
Don't do me.
You swing your long bugbear arm from behind the tree, and because your arms are so long, you can actually keep most of your body on the other side or towards angled from the tree, and just like pendulum swing it around. The pommel or the handle of your dagger slams straight into this creature's face. And Budge, your hand and the dagger move like water through this creature's face. It doesn't resist like a full corporeal body, but rather like thick liquid. And your hand moves through and then lightly contacts the tree on the other side before coming out. Meanwhile, back in our tiny hut, one of you is having a very interesting dream. Glee. After a fitful first few hours of sleep, in which you found yourself flitting between usual kinds of snippets of replays of your past day, sort of strange distortions of a sorrowful and angry Rain's face getting closer and closer to you, zooming in and out. You feel like you're too slow to get away, and it's frustrating. And then suddenly you're just on fire, exploding, and then it fades, and then suddenly you're back at the Arcaneum in Orst, browsing through bookshelves. And the books are all of strange sizes, and they're improperly organized. You're looking for something. You can't find it. You're getting ever more and more frustrated. You reach out to try to grab a book by the binding, but the binding shrinks and expands with your fingers and doesn't permit you to grab it. And then it fades to black. And you're getting more and more images like this, bits and bobs, again and again. But each of them seem to be ending with this feeling of incandescent frustration and exploding out until the next bit comes. But then those seem to dissolve, and you're sleeping peacefully for a time. Until in front of your eyes, which are still closed, there seems to be a kind of soft, distant golden light. It's warm. It was comfortable in the hut, as it always is. But now it's warmer, almost like you're near a roaring fire. You open your eyes, and there's a familiar sight. A high, high vaulted ceiling that extends out of your sight into darkness. But one circle of dim, silvery white light, far, far above you. Shafts of what appear to be moonlight piercing through there, but it's hard to tell from such a distance. As you get a clearer sense of your body and your surroundings, suddenly you can feel your fingers and toes, and you sit up. You are on the floor of a beautiful laboratory, a place you've been several times before. The walls covered in shelves, locked, some open, some filled with books, some with jars of specimens. There are an array of drawers and sort of narrow countertops that are at a higher level than usual tables, as though meant to be standing in front of. And there are tinctures and bowls of powders. There is suddenly an intense smell, more vivid even than the warmth. It is astringent and bitter, and it almost burns when you breathe it in. And you see it's coming from a flask at a table nearby. Beneath that flask, there is a blue flame that is perfectly still. And the flask has liquid that is bubbling slightly, and clearly there are fumes emitting from it, drifting up into that sky. Further along, there are more of these flasks and beakers, some much larger than the one that is closest to you. Each of them seems to be placed meticulously, some connected by longer pipettes or tunnels of glass, spiraling kind of connecting pieces between these orbs and flasks and beakers. You are not alone. Across this room, perhaps 30 feet from you now, facing away from you, is a figure wearing a cloak. In front of this figure is a larger table, a sort of a much more grand-looking old hardwood table that is covered on one side with a number of different instruments laying out on a crushed velvet sort of mat. But taking pride of place in the center is a very tall flask that has a much larger array of blue flame beneath it. You can't see it clearly because of the figure's silhouette between you and it. But there is also a bright golden glow coming from in that flask. What do you do, Glee?
Glee will address the figure.
What do you say?
Tell me, what is enclosed in that vial?
The figure is moving their hands in a kind of rote motion and seems to be deeply focused on what's in front of them. But when you speak, the figure pauses and becomes unhunched, still facing away from you. But then you hear a voice. I'm glad to see you, Glee. I thank thee for coming alone this time.
'Tis never my choice when I come, but it pleases me that this pleases you.
There's a slight chuckle at that. The figure turns around. They put the hood down that they are wearing, and you can see that they have light brown skin and quite vivid dark brown eyes. They are bald and have, for all intents and purposes, a human appearance. They are wearing robes that are deep, sort of chestnut brown and trimmed in gold at the hems. And that gold itself seems to be inlaid with interlocking lines of silver and leaf that sort of stands out and glitters alongside it. When this figure turns around, you would notice that a number of the smaller flasks and vials that are nearby have stirring implements in them, and those sticks used to stir the contents are moving of their own accord. When the figure steps to the side, looking at you, they permit you full view of the flask that is looming there on a kind of apparatus above this blue flame that is just floating in the air beneath it. No candle or torch is the source of it. The liquid inside is brilliant gold, shining and gleaming with very much a kind of intensity and color that you're familiar with. It is much like when you fire eldritch blasts. Suspended within that vial, or that flask, I should say, is a much, much smaller vial. There does not appear to be any apparatus holding it. It is floating about 6 inches above the line of this golden liquid, which is simmering. Its surface is totally smooth, but beneath that surface, there are whirls and swirls of changing, shifting light and shade, as though the below is a tempest, but above is a calm, placid sea. The vial, much smaller, sitting above it, has a bright silver liquid inside of it. And it is so brilliantly silver that it is almost white. The figure is still looking at you, watching you take it in, and they say, if you would like, I will permit you to have a closer look.
Glee won't move, but will send her mage hand out to try to grab it.
Your mage hand, which is a visible spectral hand, comes forward close to the flask. So are you hoping to grab the smaller vial that's inside the flask? Okay. Your mage hand gets very close to the flask. And then the person who is watching you smiles lightly, mutters something, and moves a hand, and your hand disappears. Now, Glee, you are going to have to be a good deal more careful than this. Some processes are too intricate, too important.
Show me what you want me to see.
Welcome. Please, come closer. I can assure you that you have nothing to fear from me, and that while any time you have been here before, it has not been your choice, everything that transpires from this point shall be your decision.
And I come up behind Glee and I'm like, hey, Glee, what are you doing here, Glee? What's going on? But that's only my dream. I'm just dreaming that.
Yeah. Brockley's having some wild dreams, y'all. Real wild. Crazy. But it's up to you what you do now, Glee. They're just waiting for you.
Glee will approach, like this figure has said, will approach to have a closer look.
Mm-hmm. As you get closer, the heat that you felt before, it seems to be coming from this source. The flask is positively radiating with warmth. And the closer you get to it, the more intensity the brightness seems to be as well. It's almost bright enough that it is uncomfortable to have your eye line close to it. If you wanted to take a closer look at the vial, you actually have to put your hand sort of so that it obscures the golden light, and you can see that though it is much less in its quantity, it is perhaps more tempestuous, more bright, more gleaming than the gold. And like the gold, this silvery liquid is absolutely broiling within itself, as though it is not even resting in the vial, but plummeting, splattering, exploding. But it is there contained. Would you make an Arcana check with advantage? Or you can make, if you're not, is Glee proficient in Arcana?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
Just double checking. Pretty good, even on the first roll there. Okay, so that's north of a 20 for your first roll is a 22, right? What you are watching is it's something that you have only seen theorized in your prior research into alchemy, in your time at the Arcaneum. That would be a very different kind of alchemy. In your time at the Arcaneum, Um, it's sort of so. It's effectively mythical what is happening in front of you, because what it appears to be is a perfectly distilled sample of both what some alchemists call the sun and the moon, refined from pure brimstone or sunstone, as sometimes it's called. You have what is below, known to many as a drop of sun. And what's above, sometimes referred to as the moon, is quicksilver.
Glee will turn around and say, I want you to teach me how to do this.
I'm very pleased to hear that, Glee. I'm certain that you must have questions.
Yep.
I knew that you might be, forgive me, peculiar.
Well, you know what? In this figure's head, Glee will say, be careful what you say.
In Glee's mind, you will hear, I can assure you, I always am. But their lips do not move.
Touche.
I would like to teach you some of this most ancient and proud art, lost to many centuries, claimed for the most part only by charlatans and fools, and so disparaged by many who themselves would mages call. I must tell you, Glee, there are very few people who have achieved sympathy as you have. And they gesture down to just at your collar line, where just below lies the artifact embedded into Glee's chest. I hope you understand what an opportunity that presents for you.
I do.
Well then, your willingness to learn and your fusion, your sympathy, it is the first step of the great work. It is the first path towards mastery of the elements. To understand their true natures is to unlock their potential. You must understand, Glee. This stuff, this material, this matter, so condemned by divines, it can hold the very essence of creation itself, if we but pay it the heed that it deserves. Do you know what you have done with that artifact in your chest?
I know what I hope to do.
Please, tell me.
I want to be a master.
Well, it is within my power to assist you. As he says this, and as in fact you finish saying, I want to be a master, there is a shift in the ground beneath you, a low rumble. There are vials in desks nearby that begin to shake slightly. You can feel tremors in the ground. The person in front of you unfocuses their eyes for a moment. Thou art ready, Glee. You must begin your path now to do the will of the first elements. The great work is accomplished by the intercession of these first elements, the primordial dragons of Eorn. Tangar, the flame eternal. Sutha, the breath of life. Saroth, the rising tide. And Gamola, spine of the world, whose voice, Glee, I know you have heard. You have been blessed. You have earned as well the highest honor, the opportunity to become a master of true alchemy. Not carnival tricks, circus performers who preach at street fairs and promise cures for all that ails. If you complete the great work, you will be free of mortal fears. No poison, nor disease will touch thee. No age leave its mark upon thy brow. And even death itself will bow to you, and ne'er take thy soul in its shadow's harvest. There are no chosen ones, Glee. You must know, you are here because you have earned your way, and you can just as easily lose it. What you have gained can be taken from thee. I advise you to be steadfast, to listen, to leave no room for error. I want you to try something. They remove from their robes 2 vials, identical in nature, and they hand one to you. Do you accept?
Yes.
They will uncork the vial and say, your first lesson in the true sympathy and the gifts the first elements can give is in that vial. Taste, and in the way of true knowledge, you will know its recipe. And then they drink. What does Glee do?
Glee uncorks it and drinks.
Glee, you immediately feel a change in your body as soon as the liquid touches your tongue, mingling there with your saliva. An experience you've had one time before happens again. When you lie in the muck outside of Mother Sawyer's tent, or her tree, and felt yourself beginning to merge with the mire and the mud around you, to feel your body in every particle of its being at once, and to lose your center in it. For a moment, that feeling returns. And suddenly, you feel a rush of frigid air blasting through you. Ice, snow, blizzard, wind, and deep, deep, abiding cold. Until there is no more Glee, but only cold. And as quickly as it comes, the feeling fades. you hear their voice again in your mind. And now the cold cannot its tightest grip upon thee take. You should fear no snow, nor ice, nor cold of night. You may traipse across it, as I know thou already canst with flame. Until you take another one of these tinctures, Glee, you have resistance to cold damage. Likewise, you feel a strange feeling you have not had since you attuned to the rhyme of reason, that hunk of stone that you spoke an infernal rhyme to. It changed the way you saw the world, made edges sharper suddenly, gave memories to your reach that were otherwise out of reach, made you feel as though you could call to mind information quickly. A similar sensation moves through your mind now, but it is specific. You can see your own hands in your mind's eye, placing your alembic just so, conjuring the flame beneath it, placing together ingredients and time passing quickly, watching the tincture distill. You feel confident you could replicate this, as though you have done it before. This, Glee, is only the smallest of steps to your divine alchemical mastery. I think, perhaps, it is time the student was well acquainted with their master. Glee, it is a pleasure to meet thee. My name is Roger Bacon.
Roger. Roger Bacon, eh?
And I think that's probably a good place for us to take our break.
Jeepus.
We will pick up with what is going on outside of Glee Stream when we return. Let's say at 9 o'clock. It's 8:46 now. We'll take a bit of a break. Just watching the chat right now. We'll take a little bit of a break. At 9 p.m. we will return, and we will touch base with Budge outside, having plunged the haft of his dagger through this creature's face, and Allura, Rain, and Brockley sleeping soundly, and Glee sleeping not so soundly inside of the tiny hut. Until then, we will go to a break. Thank you to all of you who have been watching. We will return at 9 p.m. sharp. That's currently 13 minutes away. So please use the time, take a break, get a bit of a stretch. We will very delightedly return at 9 o'clock for the next half of our session of Bardic Inspiration. Thank you so much. We are back. Welcome everyone back to Bardic Inspiration in our adventure with the Magical Cane Band. And I wanted to point out earlier, and I totally forgot, that in retrospect, after we've finished the stream and it's been up on YouTube, I like to give our sessions a title. And I will update those titles on YouTube and also in our sort of show notes. But last episode's title turned out to be The Course of Love, for, I think, obvious reasons. It certainly didn't run smooth. But I gotta say, Brockley's recent coinage of Cupid or Stupid is really, really just a great contender for some revisionist history. Cupid or Stupid needs to hang around. That's a great title. Thank you so much, those of you who've been watching on the live stream and participating in the chat. I'm right there with you, feeling those feelings. When we left off, we were mid-dream, and we had just been introduced to Roger Bacon, who has promised to teach Glee to become a master alchemist. we also left Budge in a bit of a situation outside. So, there are two things that we should address. First, I think we'll return to Budge, and then we can see what's going on with Glee after we understand what's happening here. So, when we left you, Budge, you had executed a perfect stealth mission, having clocked a figure and their owl, or an owl that was with them. You crept around the back, and then, undetected, you whirled from around a tree and chose to bludgeon this figure with the hilt of your knife, having total advantage and surprise on the attack. And you landed where you needed to with that blow. But your hand holding the dagger moved through this figure like thick, brackish water almost, and then came out. As you do so, Budge, you hear a voice in your mind that says, I hope you do not choose to do that again.
Do it one more time. One more time.
Budge, did the
No.
figure look like it said it?
No.
Did its mouth move? Budge's eyes will look up at the owl. As the
owl is now looking at you, yes.
Budge flings a dagger.
Make an attack roll.
Can I use a bonus action to
As long as you're not moving, you're staying put. Yep. We won't have to do initiative in this case for this. It's a very quick thing, and you'll be staying still for the next 6 seconds or so.
Killing an owl.
Get it.
Yeah, fuck this out. It's not right.
Yeah, that's a hit. You basically your dagger goes streaming through the night and thuds directly into this owl who was utterly still, and then in a cloud of sort of feathers, launches off the branch, flying backwards, and then thuds into the ground. Your knife is sticking out of it. The owl is not moving.
I'll whistle to Peeves.
And then, like on cue, Peeves sprints from the point where he was hiding, and grabs the owl in his mouth, careful of the blade, and then runs back to the spot where he was in pointer position and is looking to you for a cue for the next thing to do.
I will dash into the dome, and I will, while Peeves has it in its mouth, try and wake up my fellow cane bands. I'll start with Brockley. I'll just shake his shoulders. And Brockley,
all right. As you're doing that, Budge, we'll pause, and I'd like to return to where we met in Glee's dream. As Budge is running into the dome, leaving this figure behind, and Peeves not far behind. In this laboratory, you can see the face of Roger Bacon, who has just introduced themselves to you. They say, but I do believe it is only right that I introduce myself properly. And then, as they say this, their skin begins to change. And they speak as this change is happening. The brown skin begins to shimmer and change in its color and texture from light brown to a kind of golden hue, to a texture like brass. but there are no seams. Neck and face and gloved hands, which they bring upward and begin to remove the gloves. And you can see that the hands are of the same texture. Thank you, Rick, for that demonstration. They mutter something under their breath, and you can tell, Glee, that they are dropping a spell that has been active. Where the normal human skin was, now, in exactly the same shape and proportion, is a shimmering surface of metal. A kind of brass, but an impossible seeming alloy. No seams. This person is still as expressive and animate and alive as they have always been. When they move their head slightly, there is no creak, there is no angle, there is no seam or rivet, there's no screw or nut. But everything that you can see of their head, face, and hands is entirely metal. And Roger says to you, I have come this far in my own great work. Tell me now, one last time, Glee, are you certain that you agree to the path that lies before thee?
I am.
As you say this, the artifact in your chest gleams and you feel a fiery, bright pain that doesn't hurt, but it trills to every nerve of your body, once more giving you that feeling of intimate awareness of everything physically in and around you, but it burns like fire without hurting. It is simply vivid and alive. There is a bright golden gleam from underneath the robes of Roger in front of you, as you can see radiating from the center up to his head and over the sort of top. There is like a wave of a kind of golden light, and then to the tips of fingers as well. And then a different voice is in both of your minds. Welcome, pupil mine. I shall give you what you seek. Budge. You're running into the tiny hut. You're shaking Brockley, who's groggily sort of rising himself out of whatever wild dreams it was Brockley was having. Alora, hearing the commotion, you sort of come to consciousness and take stock of the situation. Rain, you are super deep in sleep. This is a difficult task flying ahead of you. But you're moving around from person to person, trying to wake up.
Are we doing a show? Is it showtime?
Budge. Glee is not there. Where Glee was lying on her sort of isolated place, there is a book, a large book that you have seen Glee reading before. And nestled on top of it in the center is a lump of pinkish purple stone. Glee is gone.
Well, I picked those up.
Glee's turned into a stone.
I picked them up.
You picked the book and the stone up?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen them both before.
You sure have. The stone you recognize right away is the Rhyme of Reason, which Glee has been using. And the book is Glee's book that she has been often reading in surly silence in various times in the past.
What?
Alora, what's happened?
I
Where's
think
Glee?
mayhap if I spend some time studying this book, I might find out, but potentially she has left, or seems unlikely she would have been abducted from among us.
I did dream. I had many dreams. I dreamt
Budge,
I dreamt that you were punching a waterfall in the face, and I dreamt that Glee was in a chemistry class.
I saw someone. Someone's been here. Something's
On
happened.
thy watch, Budge. What happened on thy watch?
Peeves, drop it. Drop it. Beast, drop it.
Pete drops a bleeding, dead carcass of an owl with a dagger emerging from it. It is like a sort of, now that you're sort of in the dim light of the hut, you can see it is a perfectly gray owl.
Oh,
Nature's not
Excellent.
just a simple owl.
I
They're
can make a
royal
good
person.
breakfast. I'll make a breakfast of this. This is such a good find, Budge. I can make us some granola. It'll be excellent. Oh, such a breakfast we will have.
Brockley,
Fucking speak not of granola.
this has been the owl that has been watching us for some days now. We know this.
And
It's
they
not
were
a
a person
normal
this
owl.
time.
Can we
They were a
still eat it for?
person.
Can we eat it for breakfast
Illusory
though?
form.
Nay, Broccoli.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, perhaps. I mean, it could still be good meat, but
Vital nutrients.
Wait. Glee is missing, and you saw who? An owl.
a person, an owl
what?
nearby, but they were an illusion. I did strike them, and my hand did go clean through. Felt like passing my fingers through honey or something, or water.
Honey. Oh, that would go well with the owl.
I
So
grab, my,
sweet.
I grab my bag and I go out of the hut. And I start
Okay.
running through my bag
Mhm.
and I pull out a little stone
Okay.
because that owl appeared just after the last time I used this little stone. So I'll try it again.
I assume the illusion's gone as well, because Budge would look over.
You want to look back to where you just encountered this figure?
100% would glance to where he came from.
Okay. The figure is still there.
There he is.
Oh,
Right there.
Like
I
maybe
start
20 feet
running.
from the dome. Yeah.
I'll go
I
investigate.
start running and falling and running towards the figure.
Okay. Rain, it has been like 2 to 3 hours. You are still drunk. You are absolutely hammered. And like, honestly, everything is hard right now. Tell me what Rain does.
Rain gets up and then falls over and then gets up and then stumbles out of the hut and tries to stumble towards the figure.
But I'm
Okay.
already out of the hut, so I'm ahead of her, so I'm going to go investigate it.
Okay. You can hear this big uproar as Rain is attempting to sort of find her balance. Alora, you can see the same figure I described to Budge sitting very still, leaning up against a tree, probably 20 feet from where the dome is.
So I'll go
I'm-
run and have a close look at his face.
I'm running after. I'm going after Rain as well because I can see what state she's in.
Sure.
And I try to convince her to get into my backpack.
Okay, Alora, you can get pretty close pretty quickly once you Bud just pointed out where this person is sitting, and then everything that happens next can happen very quickly. So, Brockley, if you're going to attempt to restrain or convince Rain, Rain, how is that going?
Rain, we will do much better together in my backpack as a team.
Just pick me up so I can see and I want to see the man.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna pop you in the backpack. You relax, close your eyes, breathe deep, think pleasant thoughts.
I get in, but I try and hold on so I can see at the top, but then I fall and then I try.
Yeah, Rain is piloting the struggle bus right now. It's that time as well where like you've slept off a bit and the early stages of the hangover are lurking, but you're like in the fog of sleep as well. Everything is blurry, everything is strange. But you managed to get Rain up there, Brockley. Alora, Finn has come out as well and is sort of looking from each of you and then looking at the figure,
Yes.
and is sort of at the ready, looking suspiciously.
Finn will tell us what to do. Finn, describe in detail what we should do now, Finn. All decisions are thine, Finn, from here on in. Only thee can help us in this situation.
Finn listens to you, Brockley, and then looks at the figure, and then goes closer to Alora, and then just whispers under her breath,
Sneaky.
May care guide your hand, Allura. It is time for us to be serious. And then she makes a quick motion of her hand, and you are bardically inspired now, Allura. She uses a bonus action to expend a use of Bardic Inspiration. So you said you wanted to investigate what was happening here, right? You can make an investigation check if you like. The reason it's that and not a perception check is that this figure is not moving. And when you get closer, they don't seem to react. They don't seem to be making threatening motions towards you. So if you want to take like closer looks at like their clothes and what you can see of their face, all that, make an investigation check.
Dolphin girl.
Aww.
Well, the good news is the inspiration dice is either a d6 or a d8, so you can re-roll that component of it. Let me just double check on Finn's because you are all level 7. So that inspiration has been ever increasing. It is loading.
Dolphin
It's a d8, so you can roll a d8, and that was only like a 2 or something from that. So.
So 15
Okay.
altogether.
15 total? Okay. Right. So you can see that this figure is just sitting cross-legged at the base of this tree, leaning back against the trunk. The robes, the cape rather, and clothes that they are wearing seem... Do you have a question? Sorry, Allura?
The inspiration box on my sheet is ticked. Can I use that?
Oh, this is from your from before. Sure, why not? Let's use it. They often get underused. So
Okay, so I'm doing my investigation check plus the D8 from Finn.
mm-hmm. Yeah, this is left over from your stage manager Meg feat of listening, I think.
At once, right?
Yeah. So occasionally I grant inspiration to players when they do something epic or fun or very cool character business, and they can get a reroll. This is what's happening now.
Do you want the D20 reroll or the whole thing?
Just do the whole thing. It'll be easier than trying to track the 3 separate ones.
Oh, it's worse. Oh, no, it's not.
No, 21. It's quite good. So what you can gather with that increased roll is not just that they are common but well-made clothes. They seem to be brand new. They hardly seem worn at all. There is not mud caked on the boots. There doesn't seem to be tears or repair marks in the shirts, which shirts and pants of this quality, you would expect to have been lasting the person a long time. They're not like finery. So yeah, you would expect signs of wear and tear. They're not. The hood on the cape is obscuring part of the figure's face, but what you can see in sort of the dim, I'm presuming your boat is nearby, giving off some light. And there it is. You can see if the boat gets close enough, actually, you'll be able to see in color. This person has dark brown skin and deep brown eyes and white curly hair that is very, very close cropped on their head. And as the light gets closer, they seem to respond and sort of like, blink and put a hand up. And once you're doing that, the figure speaks. They say, "Now then, I hope none of you are as committed as your bugbear friend to punching my face into this tree."
Nay, we seek only answers about the loss of our friend. Knowest thou where she has gone?
Or I'll punch your face into the tree.
Wait, is that the creepy wizard?
I am not a creepy wizard.
It's a creepy wizard.
What do you mean of your friend?
A member of our party is absent. We were resting and she is gone. Dost thou know what may have become of her?
I have my suspicions.
Ooh.
Which are what?
Hey,
Tell me the nature of her.
There you go.
No, you go, Budge. You go. You go, Budge. You go.
Are you talking to me, Rain? Are you talking to me? Are you calling me Budge? Is that what's going on here, Rain?
Yeah.
I see what's happening here. I just wanted to say, hey, I'm Brockley. I need to introduce myself to you and to my friend Rain, who has obviously forgotten my name. Hey, I'm Brockley. This is the Magical Cane Band. Who are you? What's up, my man?
Brockley and Rain, well met. Make a persuasion check, Brockley, actually.
Oh, yeah. All right, persuasion. I just want to meet some people, I just want to know some people. Is that so much to ask? Here he is, he's by a tree. He seems cool. I'm quite persuasive. Hey, I better add that. That's gonna help. That's gonna help whatever roll happens here.
Yeah. There it goes.
Oh, come on!
What a brutal rock of fate. 17 to 8.
Greatness.
Yeah. 13.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Brockley.
And this Rain.
Aye.
They turn to you, Laura.
My name is Laura. This is Finn, and the companion we seek's name is Glee. She's a tiefling and a warlock. And also very upset at the moment, so we should look after her.
I can, with some degree of certainty, inform you that your friend has not crossed my path or left your dome, where you have given your rest.
And you are?
I am here on very important matters, and I would like to discuss them with you without further unpleasant circumstances. Staring at Budge.
I'm sure we can come to an arrangement where no harm will come to thee. We seek only the return and safe return of our friend.
Oh, let's not make promises we can't keep.
I,
But
Perhaps
take a chance. You know what? I'm very old, and I just want Glee back.
Full disclosure to
as do I.
Yeah, full disclosure, I have always wanted to punch Honey in the face. So it sounds like a delightful experience to punch something that feels like honey and to cause no damage. I'm not saying I'm definitely going to do it, but if there was a way that me and thee could work it out where I could punch some honey, then I would have much gratitude towards thee. That is all I've said my piece.
With respect, I think that I worry that the figure standing before us could be talking whilst Glee gets further and further away.
Wait. Shut up, Budge. Shut up. I think that this figure does not know. He did say she did not leave the dome, so perhaps she is invisible. I should go and check while you have your chat with Laura. Yeah, you enjoy that chat.
I'll come with you. I'll carry you, Rain. Let's you and I head back to the tent and make sure that Glee is not there.
Okay.
You gonna go make a perception check?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. When Brockley and Rain get a bit further away, you can go ahead and make your roll, actually. The figure begins to stand slowly, keeping an eye on you, Budge, and then back to Laura, and then just very slowly, both hands out, slightly, stands up. And you can see that they're about probably 5'9". So looking up at you, Budge. So Brockley,
I just woke up. I really, honestly, I'm quite sleepy.
You're still clasping on your chainmail, getting situated. Well, a few things are at work here. For one, Finn left the dome, so the dome is gone. It makes it a bit complicated for you to find precisely And then you realize, oh yeah, no, your stuff is still there. Okay, right, cool, okay. That's about what you gather. No sign of Glee. There's no apparent sign of Glee there. Rain, from your vantage point on Brockley's shoulder, you're looking around, you're sniffing around. No sign of Glee in the flesh.
Brock,
Yeah, Irene.
do you have a powder that we could throw around to see if she is invisible?
Oh, I mean, I've got my rations. I do have just some plain flour in there, which I use to make flat breads.
Let us do it.
I mean, because she could be invisible, she could be prone.
Yes.
All right, let me grab my flour. This is a Rain. Excellent plan that thou hast
Okay.
right now.
All right, Broccoli, are you throwing flour everywhere?
Oh, you betcha.
Okay. Meanwhile, this is happening, and just in the background, there's just like gabs of flour poofing into the air, and the person standing before you says, "I must also assure thee, your friend is not invisible or nearby that way, but perhaps we should let them try."
I just look at Finn and smile and look back to the guy and say, they appear to have either forgotten or know not that I can in fact see invisibility, and it's easy for me to tell if she's there or not. But it's more entertaining for me that they amuse themselves out of earshot for the moment. I shall leave them alone.
Then, sort of all business, the figure looks to you, Alora, and then says, "I'm here because a much longer, substantial thread of fate is in play, and I believe you have found yourselves entwined within it."
There is much about Glee's fate that is unknown even to herself.
I believe that I only in part refer to your friend Glee's fate, although I am certain it will be of import. The figure is looking closer at you, Alora, and seems suddenly concerned, focusing for a moment.
I am very odd looking, it's true.
You get those looks a lot. It's not one of those looks. It's more like their eyes sort of unfocused and went elsewhere for a moment, and then were recalled to awareness here. Are you its keeper now?
If you refer to the stone that was on Glee's possession, it remained behind when she left, and is now currently in my pocket. Are there other things that I possess that you may be referring to?
No, I believe you are correct. It is the rhyme of reason.
And a substance that I have sought for 85 years.
What do you know of this substance, Alora?
It has exactly what, we're unsure, but some sort of connection to my family.
Yes, I believe it does.
That much I know.
Does thee know
Alora.
much of it?
Canst thou
You
tell us
ask many questions.
substance?
I have as deep and true a knowledge of it as you do of your own limbs.
Well, I have much
Please.
to learn from thee.
Alora, I know that you have no cause yet to trust me. You do not know me. But I am going to ask something of you now. I give you my word. I will not take the stone from thee. Please, could you remove it from your pocket and show it to me?
So I take a step back so I'm out of his arm's reach, and Budge is a little bit ahead of me, but to the side, so you can cut in between if he needs to, and I'll hold it out.
Okay. When you do that, something changes. The figure's eyebrows raise, expression softens, and then they close their eyes and lift their head back and take a deep breath. Melora, you are holding a very special material. And while I knew you did not lie, I had to be sure.
Sorry, we all just had a scream, right?
Yeah.
You know it, this particular stone, as the rhyme of reason. But that is not what it truly is.
Nay, I had suspected as much when Glee first told us what it did. I knew a stone this large is capable of far, far more.
And you are correct. You have heard this called a number of names in the general and not the specific. Which of those names do you know?
The one best known to me is Ascalite.
Well, that is a surprise. But not an unwelcome one.
Why so?
A very clever creature, long, long ago, wanted to protect a great secret. Many such secrets today are well disguised in common clothes. That creature sought in part, I think, to honor me, Alora, and the Cane Band. My name is Azor. I am the Watcher's Eye, and what you hold, this Ascalite, also known as Godstone, this is a piece of the Reaper's body.
Do we know? Is that when he says the Reaper's body? The Reaper is that a figure, a god?
The Reaper is a god.
Brockley. You know who the Reaper is.
Mhm.
Alora certainly has an academic understanding of a number of these things. All of you would know the name of the Reaper. The Reaper, although they come in many aspects and forms, are one of the three: the Sower, the Weaver, and the Reaper. The Reaper, who is god of many things, but of the domains that fall under the Reaper: death, plenty, but also reckoning and time. Of the Reaper's many aspects, some have names that a few of you might know, and there are many, many more besides. But are any of you proficient in religion? Rain, are you proficient in religion?
Hold on.
That's a surprise to me, but a welcome one. Brockley, is Brockley proficient in religion?
I don't think
My
so.
qualified quite high, but I'm not proficient.
No, I just have advantage.
You're right. Tell me the specifics of that advantage. I think if you click it, it tells you a few things.
To recall lore about deities, rites and prayers, religious hierarchies, holy symbols, and the practices of secret cults.
Rain.
Clicking the A.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rain, you can make a religion check with advantage.
Woohoo!
Alora, I will say you can make a regular religion check as well. Not with advantage, but just a regular one.
I've got -1 religion. Is that proficient?
Is there a black circle in your character sheet on D&D
No,
Beyond
no,
next to it? Okay, so you're not proficient in it. However, okay, Alora, pretty good.
Very smart.
Yeah. So all of you know roughly that amount about the Reaper. Alora. They said their name was Azor, the Watcher's Eye. You would know that the Watcher is an aspect of the Reaper. And these main gods have many aspects for sort of specific manifestations of their domains. And the Watcher is one. The Watcher is associated with many things, but among them are time and reckoning. But there are other sidelong concepts associated as well. Vigilance, care and reckoning and understanding. The name Azor specifically, I think, might not ring any bells for you. However, what languages does Alora speak?
Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Vidalcan.
Okay. It has the distinct sense of a word that is not in common, or not of common nature.
Yeah.
Brockley,
Yes.
you don't have a big academic understanding of the Reaper and the Watcher, but you had an encounter recently with someone who mentioned the Watcher to you. Her name is Joan. When you spoke with Joan, the human who was imprisoned for speaking out on religion nearby, she said to you that if you ever wanted to find her, you should seek the followers of the Watcher's way. So, that is what you get from that. He is, this figure has just said, Azor has just said, it is a piece of the Reaper's body.
Thank you for that knowledge. It is most valuable to me, and I'll put it back in my pocket. We still care to return safely our friend.
Wait, what do they want?
Why art thou here?
Two astute questions. I cannot linger much longer. It is difficult for me hither to remain. I am here because that stone, I must see it protected. And it has been precariously positioned for too long.
There is none that I know in all of Eston who cares more about the stone in my pocket than myself. It is well protected.
Azor, answer us this. Is it dangerous? The stone. This rhyme of reason, this godstone, this azkalite, whatever you want to call it. We're at the reason of Glee's disappearance right now. Be honest.
You shall find, Budge. I am always honest.
Many that say that.
Can I call you AZ Fontazy? Is that okay with thee? I just feel like it's got a ring to it, AZ Fontazy.
Make a persuasion check, Brockley.
Persuasion. Come on, persuasion. Now's your time to shine, persuasion.
I've let you run. I've let you roll this every time you've asked. Every nickname you've tried to give.
But I get ever more persuasive with every level. Come on, AZ Fontazy. Oh, AZ, you were so... Oh.
Yes!
Surely.
Azor just looks pensive for a moment and doesn't say no.
I mean, that's
Come
not
on,
consent.
AZ
We all know that. We all know that.
Azor then smiles slightly and says, punching through, honey. What you call me is your prerogative, all of you.
Yeah.
But what I am here to do is ensure that that stone remains safe. Do you have the means to keep it away from prying eyes, Alora?
He dodged my question, Easy Fantasy.
See, it sounds great. Even hearing other people say it.
Will it bring us harm? Answer true or it won't be honey the next thing that I punch.
The stone
Might not
itself.
be here.
The stone itself need not bring you harm. I did tell thee that it was a piece of the Reaper's body. You must understand. It is the primal remains of what once walked Eorn as a god, before the sundering of soul and spirit from matter. This remains what was a god. Even in a tiny piece, it remains. And it, like much matter before it, can hold all that it has lost. And when it does, you have some understanding of what a god can do.
Some gods.
I hate gods more than lords.
I think you have met many more lords than gods. But I am not certain you will ever feel differently.
Easy Fantasia, thy jib is cut most pleasingly. If we ever needed thee to perform in a show, wouldst thou be willing to use thy honey-like form to wow an audience with thy viscosity?
Brockley,
Aye.
I will soon be gone, and it will be difficult for me to return. Remaining here is greatly taxing to me.
Is it possible for us to come to thee?
There is an infinity of possibilities, Alora. I am not yet willing to curtail thine. When he says that, the irises of those deep brown eyes for a moment fade into pure white, rimmed only by the lip of the irises, and then back into their normal deep brown. Alora, I cannot aid thee as I wish I could. I am here frustratingly in the capacity of a beggar. There are those who, if they knew you had this stone, more even besides those that you have thus far known, who would take it from thee and show thee no mercy, and have no regard for your humble but honorable quest to understand. If you keep it safe, I shall do what is in my power to see that some strands of fate that will aid thee come to thee. And if it is within my power to assist your friend, then mayhap that is something upon which you may depend. The figure of Azor begins to blur and shimmer.
And is
And
it
Azor
okay if we
grits
eat your
their
elf
teeth.
friend for breakfast? Do you mind?
Azor assumes solidity once again, seeming to have fought off what is happening, but it is still undergoing. The edges of Azor's body are beginning to flicker and fade. And then Azor takes a step closer to you, Alora, and says, "Whatever thou dost, see the stone falls into the clutches of no dragon. You must. Our time is limited. Please, do not let it fall into their hands. Those who know its use are the most dangerous to thee. Keep it out of all reckoning. There are those who follow the Watcher's way. Seek them out if you can, if you would wish to have assistance, but otherwise be unknown, be unregistered. Your silence is your strength. I will come to thee when I can. Until then, I shall watch as silently as an owl flies." And then Azor begins to fade from view.
Stay crazy, Hazy Fontazy.
Whoa.
Thank
Whoa.
you.
And he's gone.
Elora,
Rain.
have they tried to just talk to Glee in your mind? For she may have just gone for a walk.
Unfortunately, Rain, thyself and Glee are the members of the Cane Band not so connected to me.
I would have spotted her if she'd have ran off.
She has, I believe, gone beyond this dimension. Mother Sawyer might know how to find her.
I mean,
This is all my fault.
Hey, Rain.
This is all my fault.
Yes, it is your fault. And
Hey.
I come out of the backpack and I
Hey,
go
oh.
to Budge.
oh, hey.
Rain's still very drunk.
I
It's
just
going to
land
have
on
a
the
time.
ground.
Yeah,
I come out of the backpack and land face first on the ground.
not gracefully. It's not.
And I'm-
It's not good.
I'm trying to gently restrain, but in a nurturing way, not in a combative way.
Mhm.
Well, friends, we were here to seek only the book in the temple for Glee, but I think more important that we seek, in fact, Glee herself. Mayhap Mother Sawyer is the best place for us to be right now.
But we can all agree that Hazy Fontazy's good vibes, though, eh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And he did say to go to Watchers. The Watchers?
The Watcher's Way. That's the religion that our friend Joan, where we rescued
Aye,
Joan. Aye.
from.
aye. As I know full well. For she said this to me earlier.
Hey,
Apparently.
Brock. Hey, Brock.
Aye, Rain.
If it rains, we will be covered in glue.
Rain is correct, as there is flour everywhere, all over the campsite area. Brockley and Rain themselves have bits of it on them in various places, their hair and face.
But look, I have some flour already on this dead owl, and I just nearly need to add some spices, and breakfast is nearly served.
Budge, what thinkest thou of the relationship between the owl and Azor? Is it possible that this is the owl that we saw previously and therefore not connected to Azor, but was indeed watching him? Watch us?
Tis not the first familiar we have shot. I were surprised when it did remain, as I see them vanish on other occasion, but who knows
That's true.
what magic of these wizards. This Hazy Fontazy, I'm not sure we should trust so quickly, as whilst he has been good to provide us with insight and information, did hold back others that he did not know. He serves a society, a people that does not serve us. The Watcher's Way is just another name, to me at least.
Blah, 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 blah.
Brockley, I believe that Budge does has a point that the previously magical familiars we've shot have disapparated and this one has not. So mayhap it is a connected but regular owl that they may have enjoyed.
Have all of you walked back towards the camp area now?
I think Budge was doing that.
In that case,
Regular
you would see by now that Budge's dagger is lying on the ground by itself.
Yeah.
A slow death for that familiar.
Ah!
And Peeves would have caught it if it would have tried to fly off.
Yep.
No growler. Damn it.
Yep.
I hold up the little pebble in my hand that I've been holding this up in my other hand the whole time.
Mhm.
Should I still try to reach out to the wizard that we suspect doth have an owl familiar?
But 'tis strange, no? The Hazy Fontazy were there underneath this owl. Seemingly, are we saying that he is working with our wizard friend?
I know not. Our wizard friend was very cagey, more so than Azor. Is he our wizard friend, really? A wizard acquaintance, mayhap. We met him once.
I am just sad that Glee is gone.
Likewise.
Perhaps all we can do to bring Glee back is to achieve the mission that she so desperately wanted us to conquer.
Find the book.
To
It
find the
would bring
book.
me happiness to kill that wizard.
Yes.
Hey,
For they
Yes.
did.
hold on.
Nay. So many wizards. Bastard wizards.
The one who
It's-
brought us here, that teleported us here,
Nay.
the priest of the temple.
Nay. The
But just referring to
wizard that did
Vandermast.
serve Vandermast. Thank you.
Who's, yeah,
Ah.
that's a name you have learned, but it's been
Far on the
weeks.
tip of my tongue.
It's a veritable
Vandermast.
blizzard of wizards.
The blizzard of wizard that did hide and keep my family locked away as he did do his experiments on them. For while it were the task of Glee to go and fetch this book, I did keep in the back of my mind the task to bring justice to Vandermast for what he did to my family.
Okay.
For it were Edwin Banks that we did remove first, but Vandermast behind the scenes. It need not be now, but sometime. His heart will meet my arrow.
Yeah. Oh, my
And
life.
Virgin, we shall go with thee. I'm just concerned if we continue on this path that we leave Glee to a current unknown fate.
But where to? For Azor did not seem to say, and we go to Mother Sawyer. We spend another day.
She might bury us in mud, who knows?
Alora, where are you storing the book that you took?
At the moment, I just kind of picked them up, so it would be close to the top of my bag. But
Okay.
whenever we're sitting down, I'll flick through it at some point.
Yeah, sure. I was just asking because Rain, you looked and looked and looked around the camp and found no sign of Glee, other than faint traces. Glee had been there. Now that you're settled and you're nearby each other, you smell Glee. Suddenly, this-
I stumble over to Laura's backpack, nose first, and dive in it.
Nuh-uh.
Trying to
Alora is resisting this attempt,
I
it so
am
seems.
fighting her. I will punch her in the head if I have to.
Okay, Rain is going like mad for your pack, Alora.
Jane, what dost thou want? I can assist thee. I'm thy friend.
Glee is in your bag.
Glee is not in my bag, but something.
Glee is in your bag.
Oh.
Laura, open your bag. I can smell her.
You can smell her, correct. That does not mean that Glee is in my
Open your bag. I
Can
try
I-
and punch her in the face.
Can I cast locate object
I can-
on the
Yeah.
the artifact in Glee's chest? Because I've seen it. Can I cast locate object on that artifact?
Yeah, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. However, while Brockley's doing that, that takes an action, at least I believe. Alora and Rain are doing this. And Rain, you are drunk as a skunk. It is exceedingly difficult for you to land these punches. Alora, I will say that like Halfling Rain is like reaching up at you, and Rain, it's like swinging at a hydra. Like there's just multiple Alora heads, and you're just like, whoom, and then you swing too hard, and you kind of start to stumble.
So I'll just do one of these. Rain, it's this book that thou art smelling. Let us investigate it together. Stop trying to punch me. And I'm just do one of those, like, put my hand on her head. So she's
Yeah.
just like,
Um,
I'm here to help thee.
Open it.
Sure. So I start looking at I'm investigating the book for if there's some kind of
all right,
to it.
then I have something to show you. Give me just a moment.
I'll send Peeves over to Rain.
Give me just a moment. I will chuck something on the share tab, and then I will show our viewers. That's not the one. That's the one.
Like in our map view.
Yes, if you go to the map view, then I will show you what you see. And then if you give me just a moment, those of you on stream, I will turn to that map view so that you can see what they can see.
You always have this. You sneak.
Yep. That's the case. So hopefully that's visible to everyone on the screen. Alora, you open this book, which you are an archivist. You have handled some books in your time. I'd like you to make an investigation check. Actually, that'll help determine what you see.
It showed me before.
It's true. Yep, the same one that you've at least seen the front of this book before. All right. Yeah, that's what that is. What you open before you, the title, I should say, the cover, the front piece, does not have a title. It has only the 3 symbols that you see pictured there. These 3 arranged in that order, in a kind of shimmering gold leaf on the front. There are no words. When you open, there is this title page with what you see there. And then you are able to turn the page. I've got a pretty good look at what everyone can see. And there is this sort of insert on the first page, a poem, a verse introduction, which, given your high roll, I'm going to give you some information about this. I know you're probably reading furiously at the moment, but these kinds of inserts are very common for especially academic works at this time. Is a kind of something from the author as a preface. The binding of the book in your hands, you can feel, is extremely fine leather, almost like calf skin, in that it is so soft. It is like smooth and almost unbroken, even where these symbols are. You would expect to be imprinted on the surface, but if you run your hand across them, there's no divot, there's no raise. It's just part of the surface. Inside the pages, you would expect to be perhaps of a fine vellum or even ornate parchment, but they are different. They are, again, extremely smooth and supple. You have your sort of jeweler's equipment and other investigation tools, and if you take them out and look, those of you who are sort of huddled around Alora, you can see, looking closer, you expect to see cross-hatchings of thread, of parchment, for example, like the kind of tiny details of these pages that show the kind of provenance they might be of. How old is this? What material might it be made from? It is utterly smooth, like skin. The ink that appears to be adorning it, likewise. You get very close with a tool rather than your finger at first, so as not to introduce any oils or anything like that. And you can just run very lightly across. You can see that the ink is not raised from the page either. It seems to be part of it, if it is even ink at all. Further down on that first page, you can see this image. A green lion biting into a bleeding sun over a stone. Now, I'm happy to leave that in whatever view you would prefer to have. If you'd like to have the full poem there, I can leave it there for folks to read, but it's up to you. To the worthy. Now, Rain, as Alora is doing this, and the rest of you can see Alora very kind of appreciably, and I would imagine maybe not showing feelings, but maybe feeling them based on your experience with books. Rain, the smell is only more vivid now. And when Alora opens the book and turns the page, there is almost like a more waft of it, as though Glee has walked past you. A smell you have smelled hundreds of times since getting to know each other, and one that you're so familiar with, is positively emanating from this book.
I turn into a werewolf.
That you now have a drunk halfling werewolf.
Yeah. And can I smell the book even more? Like purposely smell the book?
Oh yeah. You can make a perception check with advantage if you like. You always get these when you're relying on your sense of smell, but given both your wolfed out and the circumstances, you are particularly attuned to this scent. The DC the dice check is affected by that, as far as the information you will get.
Is that what DC stands for?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This whole time.
More than a year.
I thought it was Diet Coke.
I just never questioned it. I never questioned it.
The Disco Combine.
I got a 5 and a 6. They're not combined. It's either
Yeah, I
5
saw.
or 6 in my
Yeah.
system. That's it.
Gotcha. So it's pretty low. Okay. What that means, Rain, is that getting closer and sniffing this book. Imagine if you're attempting to go to a fruit bowl blindfolded, and someone's like, "See if you can smell the strawberries," and you don't know this, but the bowl is just full of strawberries. The bowl is made of strawberries. It is all strawberry everywhere, and you're like just overwhelmed with like the scent of Glee, as though she is right there. She's right there. There is no detail. Like, it's not like, oh, here over this part, that's where it's the strongest or anything like that. It's just this continuous like wash of scents over you. And when you get close enough that you're almost touching the book, it is as though you were almost that close to Glee's skin, as though she's right there.
Glee is in the book.
May have
No,
to-
I mean it. She is in the book.
I believe thee, Rain. I think we can use it to bind her.
No, we have found her. She is in the book. Is there about more than one page?
There are more pages.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right.
But just going to try and leaning over Alora's shoulder to just try and see what she sees.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I try and push his face out the way, but I miss.
Yeah.
Did I have any
Still
luck?
over the-
Sorry.
Did I have any luck with my locate object?
Yes, that was the other thing I had in the back of my head. So this is all happening quickly. Alora sort of taking in data, Rain smelling. Brockley, you cast locate object, which is an action, not a ritual, right?
Yes.
Okay. You've cast this spell several times now. You know what to expect. There is that sudden expansion of your awareness, feeling very small, and yet also having input from far, far away and near at hand all at once, on a really expansion of your consciousness. You have not experienced this spell this way before. In past, you have gotten, yep, ping, there it is, and you felt your awareness pulled to a specific point. You knew exactly where it was in relation to you. When it has failed in past, you have received nothing, just a sort of calm awareness of the world around you. At first, you have that calm awareness. You focus your attention on the artifact that you have seen in Glee's chest, calling back the images of her attempting to lick it herself while having eaten a mushroom at Mother Sawyer's, the sort of wild frenzy in Glee's eyes. You can remember Glee very nervously allowing Alora to have a look at it the first time any of you ever saw it. You see its shimmering tubes, one with bright gold, one with effervescent silver. And then when you focus your mind on that, you do feel the object. But not like seeing something plainly in space, more like hearing a whisper. The slightest of slight signs, a whiff, and then suddenly your attention is drawn to the book.
I've cracked the case.
Where's
Listen all. They may not believe what I have discovered. Glee resides there in this book that Laura here has.
Rain,
How does he know this, Brockley?
Though the book be open, the case is closed. I have cast a spell hence and have located Glee there in these pages. I know not what has transpired, but Glee is a book.
Alora, was that a signal I received just there to turn the page? Was that what this was?
That was me saying, Rain literally just said that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
I was busy casting a spell. I'm not sure what you guys have been talking about, but I cracked the case. That's what I know.
But yes,
Brock, she could actually be the book.
I mean,
Let
when
us
people
read the
suffer emotional trauma, sometimes they retreat within themselves, and sometimes they retreat into a book. Sometimes they become a book. I mean, I've heard it said, very rarely, but emotional trauma can do funny things, and I know not what Glee would do when faced with trauma.
I'm ignoring this through and reading the book.
Okay, then Budge, with your efforts to try to subtly be looking over the shoulder, you can also see. So actually, I misspoke earlier. This is the preface. That was more of a dedicatory verse. So while Brockley and Rain are having their discussion, as it were, Alora and Budge can be having a look there. For Glee's benefit, you have already seen this.
I'm not hiding it from Budge. I know that he's reading over my shoulder. It's fine.
Yeah, Budge is also quite tall, so sort of can loom.
What I wouldn't give for the audiobook version, eh?
Would you like me to read it out loud?
I want
Nine.
I wish AZ Fontazi would read it out to me. His voice is beautiful.
I'm sure that you would.
Alora, hurry! I am sure you will turn a page and find Glee.
Does that wish me to read you this page, Rain, or just keep turning?
Just keep turning.
But Rain, perhaps the words need to be read to release Glee.
I have
Perhaps you are right.
I have read them, Brockley.
Oh yeah, okay.
The history of Azor.
AZ Fontazi.
And so I have found the dawning cave, and within a great emerald table, Eorn's tug in Azor's hand, its image find you hither writ. Above is like unto below, below is like unto above. If matter guideth what ye know, such is grace of Eorn's love. So all made one, one's change made all. So holds the moon our sun in thrall. Their issues born by womb of wind, delivered as Eorn's kin. This matter is in every work. All wonders subtle hither lurk. Its power is complete alone, a universe within a stone. If cast to earth, it findeth fire, and flies from earth to heaven higher. From there again it falls to earth, the soul and spirit's heavy worth. So shall you learn all hidden truth, no secret flies from thee. What haunted thee in dreams of youth, may Azor give you 1 in 3.
There was a sort of introductory line at the top there. I'm not sure if Butch read that out loud.
And so I found the dawning cave and written a great emerald.
Oh, you did read it. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Image finds you hither writ.
Yeah.
The dawning cave within a great emerald table.
Well,
So Azor wrote this.
he did. And we have a whole range of mountains known well to Brockley behind us, called the Dawn Guard, which no doubt have caves in them.
And we also now know that Budge's speaking voice is delightful, and perhaps at nighttime he could read us stories, and we would all feel much nicer of an evening, because honestly, Budge, thy voice is lilting and captivating in equal parts.
It's funny you should mention that, Brockley, because someone in the chat would like for you to narrate their life. Just thought you should know. Where the Cane Band is in hot demand in the audiobook community. Alora, you note that as you open this book, whenever you do turn the pages, it is a rather different sensation than turning the pages of a typical book.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Skin.
Well, there is that. But when you take the corner of the page, rather than taking a discrete page that you lip up and picking that up, it's as though the page becomes unattached from those below when they were one substance and then divide. So you can touch the corner of the page and begin to slide your hand, and it becomes separated from its others. And when you turn the page over to the other side, it likewise seems to merge with what came before. I'm kind of keeping pace because of your high investigation roll. These are the sort of details you're noticing as this is happening. Also, you did roll very high. As Budge is reading, and you're looking as well, the text does not seem static. It is not enough to, it doesn't seem to be anything that is throwing Budge off when Budge is reading aloud. The words have a flicker to them. And it's always the corner of your eye where you see, as though the staff on the letter D begins to shorten, as though it's going to be a P and then reverts, and as though the letters of this alphabet, which is common in front of you, almost want to change, and yet they don't. There is, without question, without doing some kind of magic, just from investigating closely, you can tell something about the words on this page is not just letters written on it. There's some kind of animation at work, whether it's an illusion or something like that. It's hard to say.
My friends, this is no book, and I fear that Rain and Brockley's guess is correct that it is somehow connected to, or possibly is Glee. Mayhap we should retire.
Alora!
We should retire to somewhere more safe, where we can more thoroughly investigate it to make sure we get Glee back safely. We return her from this book form to her humanoid form. Because she might be safe here in book form, but we do not want Glee in book form. We want Glee in Glee form, do we not, Rain? But staying here, we shall get caught again by the guards who sought us but recently. We need to move, my friends.
We did not guess. Broccoli cast a spell and I snout.
I didn't
Smell. The spell and smell method is tried and true. Everything with the spell and smell proves right. And for you to only realize it now, I feel like you doubt us. You doubt the spell and smell. And shame on you.
Yeah, and you did say we guessed. We did not guess.
Wait, what?
I believe the word I used was surmise, which is different. But I think even so...
Nay, we have a recording.
These did say guess.
I apologize, Rain, and I still think we should move.
We would have had no issues hence with surmising surmising accurately, conveys what has happened here this day. But to say that we here in guest, shame on
I apologize to you, my friends, and I still think we should move.
It is late in the season.
Do you guess we should move, or do you surmise we should move?
Is it not still night?
Yes, it is only 4 or 5 hours around 4 hours into what would have been your rest. Finn, hearing all of this happening, turns to the rest of you and says, "Good friends, I must beg of you, please. Alora is asking you for help. We are becoming distracted, friends. We do not know what has become of our Glee here. We know that she is here within this book. We do not guess it, we know it.
We guess it, we surmise it.
But if we are unsafe and we have this book, then Glee is unsafe, friends. We should listen to Alora. We need to move, or we need to make a choice, but we cannot simply hither remain in the open. Who knows who watches?"
What a night.
Yeah, I'm grumpy because I got
what
woke
a
up.
week.
Yeah, didn't get to eat my owl.
I didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah. Alora, I apologize to thee, and let us do all we can to maximize our chance of finding Glee.
I
Let us make our
also
way to Mother Sawyer's then.
apologize to you, Alora. I know that you do love us and just want the best. And I too want to get Glee out of the book.
And back into Glee form.
Yeah.
Well then, Magical Cane Band, what are you doing? A few plans have been suggested. Which of those are you going to follow to conclude your interesting evening?
The right one.
Friends, we need a powerful magic user. We know two. One, Mother Sawyer, hereabouts, and the other connected to this pebble at the Arcaneum in Orst.
Okay.
Nay, trust not anyone who knows much of what the Godstone does.
Let us.
And now, therein lies a problem, for Mother Sawyer knows of the rhyme of reason. However, so too does Azor, so paradoxical, that does rhyme.
Does anyone else want to set Mother Sawyer and AZ Fontesi up on a date? Because I definitely do at some point. But we'll put that on the back burner. But I think, look, Mother Sawyer has never steered us wrong to this point. She killed us that one time, but for a good cause.
I think you will decide to go to Mother Sawyer, and I have had enough of today. And I just climb up Brockley and climb into his backpack and then just pass out.
It takes a while. The rain is just doing that in the background while this is happening.
Yeah.
In my guts, I trust Mother Sawyer. I mean, not with many things, but to not kill us or steal from us, I do. Well, without our consent.
Yeah, that's right.
She is, for me, by far the superior choice of the two.
Oh.
Let us.
But are we asking too much of her? She can owe us one more. It's all good.
But I think we need not update her on the particular Godstone situation. We see Glee in this book. They are, as far as we can tell, apart from Azor's name written in the book, unconnected currently.
Aye. And I know that Azor did say to keep silence as our favored tool, but we don't know. Mother Sawyer is well, to put it plainly, she's someone that my grandmother trusts. And I don't know. Would be that we don't have to make a decision now, but I think that perhaps she's someone we should ask or pose a few questions to.
'Tis a starting point, most certain.
She never asked for it when she knew we had it. Something to keep in mind.
A direction in which to head.
Dolphin Guild.
I shall lead then.
And I'll at the rear as usual, like our usual formation.
Okay.
And I'll be thinking of ways to parent trap AZ Fontesi and Mother Sawyer in some sort of romantic entanglement.
Okay. So you are beginning to follow Budge out of the forest across the now midnight moonlit path that leads from Gadmouth to the former Banks estate, and then into the swamps that are just behind Gadmouth, just to its west, where you can stay away from possible detection. You know that it is about an hour's journey through the swamps towards Mother Sawyer's. Of course, depending on what you want to do, Budge, you can stay in the swamps the whole time, or you can go a bit further past Gadmouth and get to the road that you usually take, the path. Which would you prefer?
Given it's the dead of night and that I'll be keeping a lookout, I'll just take the quickest path.
Okay. So then, sorry, what was that, Catherine?
Alora.
Okay. Meanwhile, I pick up a leaf off the ground and I magically tinker it with the sound, the little tune of Dolphin Girl, and drop it into the backpack so that it's on range, just humming Dolphin Girl quietly.
That is amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please just like flick through the book and just make sure there isn't a picture of Glee?
But most certainly, Rain.
Thank you.
And just,
Good night.
I dropped a little night lullaby leaf in on.
Okay.
And I want to come up to Alora and say, hey, Alora,
Brockley.
Can I speak to the book? Just quickly?
Certainly, I'm holding it.
Yeah, hey, Glee. If you're in there, you don't have... Thou needs not be a book. If thou wants not to be a book. Be a book not. Come back amongst us. I'm sure thou art happy in these pages, and yet we miss thee, Glee. Release thyself from these papery constraints and be once more the Glee we need.
Regretfully, Brockley, I fear this may not be her choice.
Oh, just in case, though, Alora, you never know. You never know.
Thou art true of heart, Brockley.
Yeah, because I last time I spoke to Glee, we spoke of a book about how I would give her a book, and now she has become a book. I fear perhaps I have tricked her somehow into transforming into a book, and this would weigh heavily upon me if she feels she must be a book in order to feel safe in this world. I meant not that books provide all the answers and that becoming a book would solve all problems. This is not what I meant, Glee. Oh, Glee, I have led thee astray with all my words.
Brockley, we're traveling quietly at night, just let you know.
Oh, Glee! Oh.
Just letting you know.
Glee, I must whisper to thee, for we are in stealth mode, and you know how good I am at stealth. I ne'er stray from the stealthiest of modes. But know this, thou art welcome back here, free of thy pagey constraints, whene'er thou wishes. And that is all. Broccoli out.
So, you will need your full attention to be able to sort of pick your way along the path. Even though Budge is a capable guide, you won't be able to do much of anything else as you go. Alora, Finn does give you a kind of a smile when she realizes that what you've done with that leaf, and sort of hums along under her breath when it's subtle and safe to do so. A third or a fifth harmony on top of it whenever the mood strikes.
We're walking through the woods, trying to be real quiet. Everyone is in stealth mode, making sure no one can hear us. We are super stealthy. Look at the magical cane band being real quiet in the woods. We're gonna get there. No one will notice us. No one will notice us.
What was it? Everybody listen.
What?
Oh, it's nothing. Continue.
Cane Band, you make your way through the woods, and when you get to the pathway ahead of you towards Mother Sawyer's, it is deserted. It is the dead of night. It is dark. Most of you can't see unless Alora has her boat out to dimly light a part of the way ahead. Those of you with dark vision can see a little bit around you, but you pass your hour's journey uneventfully with Brockley's tunes and the faint harmonized versions of Dolphin Girl and or Dragon Girl. When you get to the characteristic fork in the road, the crossroads, where often you turn off to go to Mother Sawyer's hut, where you were teleported in when you first visited Gadmouth, you turn along the crossroads and make your way down the path. And up ahead, in the place where you have time and time again spent an evening, the giant tree, which is also a house, where you have had a spare room with Mother Sawyer, the old witch who has healed you, killed you, and even resurrected you. Where that tree and house once stood, there is mud and muck and nothing else.
If only you could see the chat between me and Rain. We're just like, she's not going to be there.
I think that's a good place for us to end tonight's session. Magical Cane Band. What a night. What
We used it too
a
much.
night. What a night. Okay, that is the end of our session for this eve, which is going to have so many good prospective title choices. I'm honestly staggered by it. But
A blizzard of wizards.
a blizzard of wizards. So good. But before we retire for the evening and say farewell, I first want to begin by saying thank you so much to a specific group of people who helped us so much. First, Matt Day, who I shouted out before, is the designer of Rollcast. He is our technomancer, our wizard. It is a purpose-built browser-based video chat platform with special features designed for D&D, including these fancy virtual dice we're using. It also allows us to integrate with streaming software very simply. It is a godsend for us. Thanks as well to the folks at Tabletop Audio for making this wonderful music that we backing track with and making it accessible to people who stream, and also for the wonderful sound pad feature that makes it very easy. Thank you to all the wonderful artists out there who are designing maps and virtual tokens. We didn't see any of those today, but we will in future, and I have been relying on you so much. And I look forward to shouting out your work the next time we see one of those beautiful maps. Thank you to all of our players for mucking in, saying yes, and continuing this crazy story. Thank you to all of you, especially in the chat. I've loved following along with your reactions to this, even if I don't respond. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for that engagement. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and follow with no undue perturbation. And you shall for sure roll like us with Bardic Inspiration. Thank you all so much. Good night. We will see you next week with the Headless Marys, and 2 weeks hence with the Magical Cane Man again to find out what the heck is going to happen after all of that. Good night.